Donald Trump doesn't walk around thinking he's a bad guy. He justifies his own behavior. Those rationalizations, I imagine, are beyond you and me. It's very difficult to like put yourself in their position. And that's the thing that's so frightening about it, is that you can't, that when people become alienated because of power or money, they become unapproachable. They become beyond talking to because they have all these inbuilt protection mechanisms. They actually don't need people anymore. They pay people. When you can no longer take in new information or ideas, that's when you sort of start to atrophy and die. And when those people are in positions of power, it's pretty scary. But I think that everything that's happening now stems directly from the presidential election, that people's outrage reached a point where they couldn't tolerate it anymore. It became like unmanageable, unlivable. Trump keeps giving us more material. And so the movement and the fallout from so many men of power continues to gather momentum and passion, because we realize like that it's become an intolerable situation.
Definitely. When a billionaire who golfs at his own resort every weekend tells working people he understands their struggle with rent and groceries and other necessities, that's not a disconnect. That's just simply contempt. If you haven't already, guys, please make sure to leave a like on the video, hype up the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it.
Hey, if you've seen the show Couples Therapy, you might know me from season 5. When this show was filmed, I was all over the place politically. Looking at it, I regret a lot of the things I said and believed at the time. I don't support Trump or the administration anymore. I was repeating things without even thinking about how it affects other people, without even having like a proper view. Silly, stupid, ridiculous. Seeing it air and watching it made me take a real long, hard look at myself, and I didn't like what I saw. So I'm officially denouncing my support for Donald Trump. I don't think he's the best for the country. I made a mistake, a huge mistake. And I'm not making this video because anybody told me to. I'm making it because I wanted to say it myself. I care more about my family, my relationships, than I do about Donald Trump and the support for him. It's honestly where I'm at now.
I mean, this is what deprogramming absolutely looks like. It is better late than never when it comes down to it. And we've been seeing tens of millions of people at least slowly wake up, and hundreds of thousands of people quickly waking up, recently at least. And I'm genuinely glad he made it out. Yeah, the question is how many people are still there believing the con. You're definitely going to have millions of people no matter what, but hopefully the more the merrier.
Did you vote Trump? Do you support Trump today?
I, in fact, did vote for Trump, and I do not support him anymore.
Why not?
So I think in theory, I like a lot of the things that he said and the party was kind of going for, but I think in the execution, they have really, I mean, it's now kind of just egotistical and not gone about in the correct way.
So what made you vote for him? What was your favorite thing he was promising that made you vote for him?
So I do think that we need to have less reliance on China for the majority of our manufacturing and just everything in general with that. I did like what Vivek Ramaswamy was actually saying in the very beginning of his campaign, where he was wanting to have partnerships more with countries like India, Vietnam, countries that are our friends and that we can trust to, you know, not have our data stolen at every constant second of the day.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, maybe going about these trade deals in that sort of way, instead of just blanket, everybody has a tariff. Right. Even countries like Switzerland, which we don't have any, like, why do we care if there's a tariff on Switzerland?
But I guess my confusion, Stephen, is I agree with you. Tariffs are a tool. It's sort of like if I show you a screwdriver and I go, is the screwdriver good or bad? You would say, well, if you have screws to screw in, it's a great tool. If you're trying to make ramen, it's not so good a tool. Trump said he was going to blanket tariff everybody, but you never, it sounds like you're saying you never liked that idea, but you still voted for the guy.
You know, I think that blanket tariffs could have some benefits. I think tariffs mostly on China would be better, but not overall, which is why I no longer support him. Okay. Along with just the general, how he's treating just the rest of the world, treating our allies. I don't think that it's good to be alienating, you know, every single country right now with the geopolitical climate that we're in with, you know, Russia's continued aggressions. North Korea's starting to seem like they are starting to be a little bit more aggressive as well. And I just don't think, especially in the Middle East as well, I don't think it's a good idea to alienate our allies.
You know, Stephen, from what I'm hearing from you, I think the only mistake you made was to think that Trump was the right person for you to vote for, because everything you're saying is sounding quite reasonable. It just doesn't coincide with anything Trump promised, you know?
I agree.
Yeah. All right.
They promised that you would get tired of winning and delivered record inflation, a botched pandemic response, and an insurrection instead. At some point, you really just got to sit there and ask yourself what it takes to break the spell.
I don't know the guy personally, and there's a lot of misinformation out there in media and politics. I get that. But if even 10% of it is true, I don't want a thing to do with that man, and I sure as heck can't vote for him. Hi, my name's Rainer. I live in Dallas, Texas. I have been a Republican since I turned 18. I will not be voting for Donald Trump this year, even though I have in the last 2 presidential elections. There's just not any reason to continue this. He has lost 2 midterms and a presidential election. I don't encourage bullies. I don't encourage bullying, name calling, high pressure to get people to fall in line, the insults to our military and our veterans. The fact that he can't get over that he lost the election in 2020 is absolutely embarrassing. The fact that almost everyone that's ever worked for him has said they don't support him. I don't know the guy personally, and there's a lot of misinformation out there in media and politics. I get that. But if even 10% of it is true, I don't want a thing to do with that man, and I sure as heck can't vote for him.
Yeah, a Texas Republican saying, even if a little is true, it's bad enough. That's how far the rails, or off the rails, that this has gone. You know, when your own people won't defend you anymore, you've lost.
Needs to be impeached. I'm sick of the corruption. I'm sick of him being nasty to people, all the corruption. He's a narcissistic bastard. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the fact that he is allowed to get away with so much because he's in so much power. And you people out there that have voted for him shock me. You shock me the fact that you supported this man. You shock me that you still support this man who has, unless we'll take a little run down memory lane here, a man who ran to avoid prison, who said that gas and groceries was going to be cheaper day one. That's been a lie. Who also turned around and said gas and food and groceries and all this stuff was going to be cheaper. That's a lie. He said that he was also going to have no wars. That's been a lie. We found out he's on Jeffrey Epstein's list, which you know all what that means. You also know that now he can't be looked into by the IRS, which you get looked into by the IRS. You also know that you hadn't made $4 billion since you've been in office. Also, he's made 37,000 different trades since he's been in office, his company has. So tell me how you support a president who is only out for himself but is not out for you. I'm sick of it. We need to call for an impeachment. We all need to sign it. We all need to send it to Washington, and we need to get this man out of office. The Democrats are working on it. We should too.
It's crazy. Every promise was a lie. Every commitment was theater. And now even his own voters are calling for accountability. It's crazy. You know, this is what happens when the grift finally catches up with you.
I agree with Mike Pence, and you need to see what he said today about Trump's weaponization fund.
This talk of a weaponization fund,
Right.
Margaret, the idea of creating a fund that could compensate people who assaulted police officers and vandalized the Capitol, that day is totally unacceptable.
Completely unacceptable and totally abhorrent. That was on Meet the Press today. And yes, I agree with Mike Pence, and I applaud him for his consistency on this issue. And I'm the daughter of a retired law enforcement officer, among many other things. But Mike Pence is by no means the savior of the United States or the Republican Party. By no means. Absolutely not. But on this issue, he has been consistent. And I am glad he is speaking up about this fund so more Republicans, hopefully, in Congress, in the Senate, will have the courage to do the same thing. Because you know what? I do believe, particularly in the Senate, that there are Republicans who do not agree with what this administration and Donald Trump is doing, who do not agree with the direction this country is going with, and do not agree on compensating people who vandalized the United States Capitol building and assaulted law enforcement officers.
Absolutely mental. You know, when even Mike Pence, the man who stood by him through everything, is publicly breaking with the policy, you know it's indefensible. That's definitely not a policy disagreement. That is just genuinely a morality gap. That said, though, if you guys haven't already, please make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. If you also haven't, hype up the video too. I'll catch you in the next one.